Hello everybody and welcome to, let me just turn myself up. Hi Playing Games, Simon here. Hope you've all had a great weekend. I've been playing Farm Together for a long time, the last couple of months, and you saw actually my very first part of this live stream when I first started this game on stream actually, and the game I thought was really slow to get going and didn't really give. Hello NC Game Boy, thanks for joining mate, hope you're well. When I've done this stream initially, I gave this game kind of a lukewarm rating because it's really slow to get going on a beginning. So I thought, as I'm just about to get the platinum, let's quickly go live, see how we're going, and go from there. I just want to quickly dive into the settings though of my farms. So you can have as many farms as you like. You can have them public so that everyone can join and help you out. You can have it local only or you can have it private. I'm just going to change this to private because I don't want people to muck about with my farm whilst I'm on stream. Yes, I've not been streaming very much lately at NC Game Boy either, so you've not missed too much. I've been very busy with my day job of work and sorting out other bits and bobs. I trust you enjoyed the Russian Grand Prix. I've not watched the Formula 2 and Formula 3 races, just so please don't spoil them for me. I wanted to get this done because it's only going to take a little while to get round. So, yes, apologies. This will be Farm Together related, not necessarily racing. So apologies in advance, NC. This game is slow to get going, and it's very Facebooky in terms of you'll end up diving in and doing a little bit and then leaving and doing a little bit and so on and so forth. But yeah, as you'll see, I've made quite a lot of my farm as I've gone along, and I've tried to avoid doing decorations where possible because decorations waste your time. So you control a character. It's completely customizable. It can be boy or girl, and as you go through the game it will be backpacky, so you can choose your own outfit and your backpack, and a pet as well. And as you can see, I went for the doggo. There are cats, there are parrots as well, and birds. Now, your game on the top right hand side of the screen runs on currency. The top one is coins, which is what you use to buy crops, trees, fish, ornaments, paths, and so on and so forth. The next one underneath is gems, which is what you use to buy specific decorations, different types of path. So like this tarmac is one, this cobbled stone is another. Underneath that you've got medals, and they're kind of like for special types of things. So as you complete stuff, that's my donkey levelling up, as you do. Oh, and my rabbit. So as you go around collecting different things, you'll complete tasks essentially that you get medals for. So if I get those, you can see each tree got me 9 gems and 14 XP, and that's because these rubber trees give me specific gems. But over here the cypress trees give me 98 coins and then also XP and nuts. Let me go over to here to my yuzu tree. Coins, XP and fruit. Lychee also gives me fruit and so on and so forth. And you can see on the bottom left hand side when I go over something that's got a basket, which means it's harvestable, it tells you how many coins I'll get. That one gives me mushrooms and so on and so forth. When you get the upgrade to get the tractor, it makes the game way more easy and much more enjoyable to play with, because otherwise you can only do one thing individually, which is fine to start off with when you've only got a few trees. But if I press the map button, you can see I've not even bothered to fill out my farm as where it needs to be, completely full. So you don't need to do that, you just manage after what you think you can manage. But as you can see, if you're stuck just doing one thing at a time, it takes a while to get around, as opposed to bringing out the old tractor, and that lets you do up to a square of 9. So this is turmeric, which if you're playing this game for the platinum is basically your spamming vegetable of choice. It's all I will say, because it's the thing that gives you the most amount of gems, and its gems is really the currency that you need the most of in this game to be able to progress. Let me just quickly mop this up and then I'll explain how the game works. So when you initially start out, you'll only have one plot of your farm. So if you imagine this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is about 37, 38 plots. You can see the grey one second, look like the grey thing over there. That's how big a plot is. So you start off with just one of those, and as you go on, you'll build up gems, which allows you to build and expand your farm out more, which then means that you'll be able to put in more trees, plants, crops and fish and animals, so that you can then build out what you need. We'll go to the animals in a second. As you create more coins, I'll explain the changes of the seasons in a second, you'll then want to trade in your produce and sell them. So here's a nut stand. Insert your innuendo here. And you sell the nuts that you've harvested to therefore get more coins and more gems as you go along. Here's the bakery. So when you put enough wheat in, then that does that as well. As you can see, things have a cooldown as well. So that's kind of why I say it's a bit Facebooky, because everything is built around the seasons, which you just saw change there. And if you look on the top right hand side, you can see we're now in winter, and the winter clock goes round. The game is constantly synced so that every season is 18 minutes long, if I remember rightly. So we're in winter for 18 minutes. Oh, run out of money. Then we'll turn around to the next season, next season, next season, so on, and we'll cycle back round. The dairy creates cheese, and then when you get enough cheese, you can sell the cheese and then get a medal. And if I was to dive into my shop, which is where I buy all of my different produce, you can see all of the different things that I can get. And because we're in the season of winter, you can see all of these things that I'm looking at say that they can be planted in winter, and that's how crops work. So you can only plant what you want to plant of that specific season, and it will tell you what you buy, what it harvests, and how long it takes. So I recommend, if you're kind of going to be like, this is my chill out game for a couple of hours a week, just kind of plant the stuff that you know is going to take a couple of days, because then you're not going to like lose time over it. That's how plants work. Trees harvest their ingredients depending on the seasons that they're in. So the cinnamon tree can harvest every single season round. The problem is that the cinnamon tree is expensive, because each one costs 5 medals, which is quite unique, as opposed to just being 14,000 for a yellow magnolia tree. But that magnolia tree, A, is expensive, but it will harvest a lot of money, and that's because it's rare, because it only harvests once a year. So if you sat in this game for an entire hour and we went back round to winter, we'd be able to get that again. So I know where mine are, actually. We'll go back round here. So there's my star fruits, but there's my magnolia trees. And to try and like make things good, I've done everything in like blocks of 9. Just so that I can speed myself through. So yeah, as you're collecting this up, it all makes things rather nice and simple and easy to do. So again, this is building us up more coins so that we can buy more things. Those were making flowers. The pecan tree gives us nuts. And if I stroke over the touchpad, you can see there I've got storage limits as well. So if you start to find that you're running out of storage space, like I will do potentially for the spices, that will then mean that I'll need to put down more warehouses. And there you can see as I'm levelling up my hazel trees and my pecan trees, what that does for trees and for every other currency as well basically means that you'll be able to get more as you level up. So now the hazel tree's at 29. That will kind of push things along. So that's that from the tree perspective. As you can see, flowers are really are a big thing of mine as well, and I'm just going to move to point number 3. They cost for you to be able to buy, by the way. I'm just going to do a little bit of farming around here on some of the new stuff, because these plants have been added in a recent update, the orchids, so they're very new to the game entirely for people. So you can see that's the first time I've actually had a white orchid bloom, because they were literally added in this week. So new. But what I found is that if you're looking for money... Hi Boone, thanks for joining, hope you're well. If you're looking for money in this game, go for flowers initially and then animals, and I'll explain animals in a minute. Because flowers, although they take longer to harvest, they give much more money per flower than they do the actual trees themselves. The issue that you have is that trees obviously give you fruit, nuts, flowers and other currencies that you can then sell on, so it just depends on what you're invested in. But for me, you can see I'm raking in the money as I go round all of the different flowers. Flowers to animals, got it, definitely. I agree. I'll show the animals in a second. If you let me know if you're interested in the game, Eboon, and I'll try and explain it as best as possible as I go along. So yeah, I'm just going through mowing these down because I want you to see all of the different flowers and animals and everything. Basically, I've bought a lot. I've bought some of everything in the game so you can see it all, because when you start from scratch and you've got nothing but an apple tree and like a turnip, it's quite boring initially, this game, and it's very... But as you grow and you do more and more and more, it's quite cathartic, and I ended up getting quite OCD about how I wanted this game to work. The aim of the game itself is to basically build the biggest farm possible. The reason why it's called Farm Together is that you can open up your farm and have up to, I think it's 4 other people going with you as you go along. So you're just basically building a farm to maintain it. So it's quite relaxing and cathartic to just enjoy yourself. So those were the flowers that I was just having a look at. These things here are tea. And the reason why tea is really important is that they're one of the few flowers that give you gems down in the bottom left-hand side. And it's the gems that are really, really important for when you want to build upgrades to your farm. So that's quite handy. Back to poppies and more poppies. But here's some more tea here. More tea here. Couple of tulips and some more tea down here. And there you can see I've levelled up the tea. So yeah, just moving around a little bit. It should make tea. So now my flowers, my flower storage is full. If I press the touchpad, you can see that there. What I'm going to do is just move over to my flower shop, which is where I can then sell all of the flowers that I've collected. And you can see when it's ready because it's got that little box there. So I'll sell some of those, and it gives me XP, removes 240 flowers, but gives me lots of gems. And you can see my gems are going up as I go along, which is handy. Now, if you find that actually because I've not used the full space of my farm, But if you decided that you wanted to increase your storage, in your shop, as you go along, you have all of these different things that you can add in the game itself. So if I wanted to add some more storage space, where have I got? There we go. A red barn increases capacity for 100 of all storage. I own 7 of them already, but I'm quite happy to stick another one in. And then you kind of rotate it round as to where you want it to go and build it, and then it goes. And you can have plenty of those. So I might have another one here, if I like. And kind of the way how you can really enjoy this game, if you really want to make it picturesque, is to go through a lot of this stuff, because here's where all of the different shops where you can make different where you can make money from the different things that you produce come in, or you can do just things that you can pop in the background. So if you decided that you wanted a big rubber duck, let's pop a big rubber duck in. We might have a couple of ducks together. Here we go. Looks like Plants vs Zombies. I've still not played Modern Warfare, actually. I don't like... I stay away from games that are online only. Dandelions were part of events. So every couple of months, this game also runs events, which is where you can pick up like time-limited plants and trees and stuff. So, that's the flowers. Let's move on to animals. And I've been a bit cheeky with my animals. So, let's get off the... I don't want to run them all over. Not that it matters. You can just push things out of the way. So, each animal needs feeding. I wouldn't play Fortnite if my life depended on it, even. I wouldn't worry. So what I've done is I've put my animals in, and then I've surrounded them with farmyard workers. Now the farmyard workers are automated, and as you can see, this one's got to work because my ostriches are laying eggs, which is handy. And what I found with animals is that they take up a lot of your time if you're going to actually have to feed them. And the reason why that's annoying is because you need to feed them several times before they start laying stuff. So if you're going to get a farmer in, if I just stand on their space, can you see there's a little yellow periphery line that goes around? That tells you how far that farmyard will look after that specific area. So any animals within that area, they will feed and pick up. If you put fish in the area, then they'll fish them. If you put plants in the area, they will pick them, but they won't replant them. So for me, farmhands were really only useful for looking after animals. And if I wanted to stick some more animals in, what should we have? Well, I've not got many roe deer. So there we go. Takes my dosh, and they're immediately good to go. And then the farmyard person will come over and start feeding them. And if you can see, there's like a little traced out line, and that's if you're putting animals together that all feed the same, then they will all be fed together essentially. So can you see this peacocks? They don't live on the grass; they live in their little gravel section. So they'll get fed differently and therefore get picked up differently. So just be aware of that if you're laying this out. But I just found this really, really helpful because it meant that the animals are automated, and then you don't have to think about doing anything with the animals at all, and just let them get on and make you money. So yeah, very helpful that. Is there 2-player? Not locally, Eboon, I don't think. But you can join other people's farms online if you make your farm available online. I've just turned it off for this review. But yeah, you can dive into people's farms online, and that farm, they will tell you if they want you to farm stuff, plant stuff, harvest stuff, or only go after certain quests. So there we go, we'll pick up that. Now, farm hands come at a certain price, and that's what the fourth thing underneath is, the tickets, the 95. You need to pay your farm hands for them to basically keep working. And you do that, or I do that with the Farm Hands Union. So you just do that to kind of keep that going over time. There's my cheese factory. I'll give that 30 pieces of milk and get myself 5 cheese. Thank you very much. I'm just going to get a little bit more of this before I get going. Is there any more around here? Yeah, there was. I'm just going to grab all the tea because that's basically what is going to give me my platinum. Let's not forget why I'm here. Okay. And this is my wool shop. So all of the sheep that are being sheared will need that. Okay, so that's animals. And they'll produce eggs, wool, not meat necessarily, but different things for you to sell. These are gas pumps, which will refill over time, and that gives you fuel so that you can use your tractor and make things easier for yourself that way. And for fishing, let me just move to point 1. So the beauty of fishing is that you can do it in one massive pond, essentially. So your tip here is not to do, well, you have to do it with these because the angler fish and the piranhas can't be put with any other fish. But if you see here, this pond is absolutely massive, and all you need to do is just stand in the middle of one of them and just fish forever. And you'll get, you can see I've got 32 things that I can fish out, and it will gradually work its way around just fishing everything out. This would probably be the other place where putting a farmhand in would be really useful, because they would automatically fish and you just keep the one pond to yourself. As you can see there, I'm baining lots of fish over time. If I just move back. That'd be kind of helpful. See, my Happy Shark fish shop is ready and waiting to receive those. Nicely done. So that then brings me on to upgrades. As you go through the game, like very late in the game actually, you can then bring upgrades for your fish, for your trees, for your plants, these. For your animals, and there's one other. Trees, plants. It's going to annoy me now. Flowers. Fish. Animals, yeah. These are those 5. And these can be upgraded for cost and for massive harvestings. This is really important though, because every time you upgrade something, it increases the amount of resource you get back harvesting something by 2% every level. So, like, I'm getting 39 gems here, but there's potential if I'd increased the plant one another level, then that would go up to 40%, or 40 gems rather. So it's handy to know as you go along. In fact, here is the plant one, if I remember rightly. So yeah, 2.13 million coins and 308 pieces of fruit, essentially there. So let me keep on having a rummage around, and I'll show you all of the different things. Now you can see just how automated the animals are, and I don't have to think about them, which is grand. Now, next one up, let's take a look at all of the crops. So, before this weekend, because I knew that this stream was coming, and you can see some more of the trees here, what I did was lined up every single crop that is in the game so that you can see one of everything. So this is everything that you can unlock possibly in the game, apart from a couple of seasonal events that happened before I bought the game. So turmeric, artichokes, pink peppercorn, spinach, red sorghum, or sorghum, shard, which is the most expensive coin-based vegetable in the game. So they only grow in summer though, so if you're in a summer and you want to make money, plant shard and then go back the next day and you'll have loads of money. Physalis, pineapples, they're quite useful. I didn't need them because I went for shards. Barley is handy if you need wheat. Not wheat, grain, I guess. Broccoli, shiitake mushrooms, radishes, white sorghum, black goji berries, shallots, red goji berries, beetroots, asparagus, my worst vegetable of all time apart from Brussels sprouts, which are thankfully not in the game, red peppers, strawberries, agave, which I've never heard of, red onions, black peppercorn, garlic, nom nom nom, green grapes, watermelon, blackberries, aloe vera, cotton, which is really handy because that's the only time that you can get wool or anything like any fabrics to make clothes early in the game, because all of the animals come much later in the game, so that's really useful early on. Pumpkins, cabbage, yellow onion, eggplants, we all know that emoji, potato, peanut, lettuce, cauliflower, Romanesco lettuce, graffiti cauliflower. I don't know if that's a real thing in real life, but I wish it was if it wasn't. Purple carrot, otherwise probably known as a penis. Raspberry, jimca, white mushrooms, sunflowers, white peppercorn, melons, azoichka tomato, again I don't know if that's real, corn, peas, turnips, beans, red pine mushrooms, Lombardy cabbage, green pepper, yellow pepper, blue grapes, normal carrots, rye, soybean, crookneck pumpkin, which came in way late in the game, so I've not really used that, but that's another one to get loads of money from. Wheat, beefsteak tomato, zucchinis, which are handy because zucchinis and turnips are only 10 minutes to wait, so if you need to farm something really quickly, they're good to go for. Red grapes and cucumbers and leeks, tomatoes, kiwis, cheddar cauliflower, cherokee, zucchinis, also only 10 minutes to run, and parasol mushrooms. So that's every crop that is in the game, so you will unlock those over time. Why would you care about unlocking all of this? If I dive back to Makar, you will have ongoing things called quests. And here's my quest log here. Every quest that you do will give you medals and XP and so on, and it's just an endless grind to just keep on upgrading stuff so that you can get more money, therefore get more stuff, and increase your farm so that you can manage more as you go along. So there is no like massive end game that you're working towards with this game. It's just the catharsism of being like, yay, I've done really well, look at my lovely farm. So yeah, that's kind of how that goes. To get more medals, you can build a marketing agency, and then you can decide if you want a very short, medium, or long quest. The longer the quest, the more rewards you get. But if I choose a short one, it wants me to do 220 purple hydrangea and 310 nectarine trees. That's huge. Anyway, so that's quite handy. You can also use medals to build sprinkler systems, but I have to say that they've not been very helpful, so I wouldn't spend your money on them, because what they do is if you use them on crops, they halve the time that it takes for something to harvest But actually, if you are just dropping into this game once a day, which is how I recommend you play the game, you're not going to worry too much about it. You can also build your own homes, and you can have several of them. I've not really used this feature very much because I've not really found it massively useful, but you can learn something on the piano. And it will do like part of the song. And these are essentially like chores. So you can do it so that you can paint something and it will gradually paint something over time. Or you can do it, and this is where I mainly use my house for, is to cook things. So I always seem to cook sushi because it's the one that's the quickest and easiest to unlock. But if I want you to do veggie skewers, you can do that. And what all of these things do, because you're essentially doing jobs, they then give you the tickets that you can then pay the wages for the farmhands. So that's the only reason why any of this exists. I wish they'd done more with it, but at least you can kind of like chill out on the bed. There's other things that you can build as well, but they're limited. So you can't have a piano and a synthesizer in the same house. You need to build a second house to do that. And you can have plenty of houses on site. So I've mainly used that one, but I've also got the tree house here, which I've never... Oh no, I have used, sorry. It's been so long since I've been in the tree house. So I went a bit further here. But clearly I was like, give me all of the kitchen appliances plus. So yes, you've got the fridge, and if I wanted to, let's build, because I've not got the piano in here, so let's do the synthesizer if it will let me. Yeah boy. But it's the same stuff that you're doing again, so it's really just aesthetics more than anything else. So I feel like this section is quite half-baked and could have done with a bit more. Let me think of anything else that is worthwhile adding before I kind of get to the end game. So, all of the stuff that is in your shop is locked by level, and it's locked by farm level. So you can see I'm on level 102 on the top. So if you're on like level 1 or 2 or whatever, then a lot of this stuff will all be locked up, and it will be once you hit level 10, then you'll unlock a tulip. Then what you'll find is, because everything's grouped into different things, like all the tulips are grouped together, all of the wisterias are grouped together, and they'll be in order of price. So if I look at the wisterias here, just to show you how it works, the pink wisteria will be the first one you'll unlock. Then it will say when you hit level blah-de-blah, you'll unlock blue wisteria, but it will also want you to have made quite a few pink wisteria first for you to then be able to use blue. And then you'll be able to unlock yellow when you hit the farm level that's required, and you'll have need to have made a certain amount of blue and pink wisterias as well. So it works really well for you to kind of do a little bit of everything and just kind of expand out over time. I also recommend, if you're making your farm public, to put in a guest book, because then guests can go and join your farm to say hello. And there's a trophy related to it. So that's a good way to get people onto your farm to help. If you do go to other people's farms to help, it basically gives you an XP boost so that you can then level up quicker. And that's kind of your incentive to go to other people's farms as you go along, whether you want to or not. Yeah, this stage was part of the latest thing, but again, although you can sit on it and like occasionally it will have like a motion, it's half baked again because it doesn't do anything apart from just look pretty. So I kind of struggle with some of this, particularly when your gems and your medals should be going towards being productive and doing things like building your fruit press so you can get more gems and jam, or getting wheat or grain, in your silo, or making beehives so that you can create honey. There's so much that you can do with it. It's just worthwhile making sure that you, if you're going for having a really efficient farm, that's probably how best to do it. In the same way that if you buy something, buy everything in groups of 9. And if you're really wanting to be efficient, group them by season. I wasn't that bothered about being that efficient, but it's worthwhile doing that because then that will cut down the time that you need to spend on the game, because you'll just be steaming through on everything that is of a certain season. So that kind of is the game in a nutshell. I appreciate that's a kind of a real tour around of everything. There are events that are coming up over time that add in bespoke things. They're kind of fun. There's a lot of DLC that's been added to this game, which also brings along additional accessories, things to put in your farm, but also plants, fish, animals, crops, and flowers. But they're kind of spread out so that they're in themes. So there's like the jalapeno pack, which will add in a couple of chilies and like a chili hat or something, or like a chili tree. They're starting to be bundled into season DLCs as well now. So if you're interested and you think that you'll spend a lot of time in this game, buy the DLC and season packs, because like you get 4 DLC packs for $7.99 as opposed to them being $3.99 each, I think, or $3.29 each. So why was I banging on about making sure that you get enough diamonds? And it's this. In order to buy and expand property, you have to have a certain amount of diamonds in which to do so. And the last trophy that you'll be getting in this game is to own every single plot of land in your farm. Now, when the game came out, your farm was only half the size that it currently is now in this game. So they've not updated it and kind of said, oh, after 20 you're done. Now you have to buy all of it. So this is the last one, and here comes my platinum trophy. I hope. Gold trophy, it's a small world. Platinum trophy, Master Farmer. Hey! Bada bing! So, now that that's done, what else do I want to put down or show? Oh, anything with a green thing around it is a seasonal event. So that glowing fungi, I wanted to put that there. That's kind of good for adding like a barrier around stuff. It doesn't really keep anything in check. It just literally looks nice. Which is why I was like, don't care about it looking nice. I just want it to be good so that I can kind of play stuff. But I do like the way how the graphics are done so that you can make something look really cute if you want to. And if I felt bothered enough to make something pretty, then I definitely would, and I'd like put my farm into different themes and stuff like that so that it would look pretty awesome. Like the red equestrian hurdle would be quite interesting. And yes, so you can kind of like make your own race if you wanted to, and try and put it on like a track and run around together, because you can have voice activated stuff when you're in multiplayer together. And then this one is just paths. But like having a gold trail is nice, but I wouldn't ever say your gold trail is amazing and it should cost a medal, because that medal should be used for getting your tea or your cinnamon trees or something like that then gives you gems. It's all about the gems in this game. What else is there that's worthwhile putting down or showing before I round off? Don't think there is anything. Pop a little bonfire in. Why not? Seen the rubber duck. This little weeping willow tree. Ooh, singing bowl. Can I do anything with it? Oh, I like that the dog barks. That's cool. I approve of that. So yeah, some of this stuff you can do stuff with, some of it you can't. Like the bonfire, just nothing happens. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed my time with Farm Together. I feel like I've had my fill now that I've got to the end of it. If there was more things out there for me to do in terms of like mechanics, like the 5 mechanics work really well, but the DLC just adds more items to the mix, but they don't necessarily add like different currencies. So say like you've got the nuts, you've got the flour, you've got the tomato, the fruit, the vegetables, the wool, the spices. If I just dive into the menu, the fish, the eggs are fabric. That's what we call honey, jam, cheese, gold nuggets, which is what you collect off the street and put into the pawn shop to get money or whatever. That's all good. I feel like the DLC should have added a few more other bits of your inventory to kind of get things going. And I wished, and this is probably me being spoilt by Harvest Moon, my time at Porsche, those types of games, that there was some kind of overarching story. Stardew Valley would be another one, which is what this game misses. This is just about you chilling out together and enjoying yourself. There is photo mode as well, which is kind of cute, but I haven't necessarily used. And there you can see your farm settings. You can kind of tell people what they can and can't do as you go. So that is Farm Together. I hope that was informative and interesting for people. If you've got any comments, questions, or you're looking after any tips or anything like that, please ask them down below in the comments and I'll get back to you on them. But in the meantime, happy farming, happy gaming, and have a good week. Bye for now.